Hello there, and welcome to the Double Indemnity podcast. I'm your host, Toby Clegg, alongside my co-host, the legendary Stuart Reid. We're absolutely thrilled today to be joined by the Lady Mayor of London, Dame Sue Langley.
And I'm thrilled to be here.
Welcome. Now, obviously, we're in your patch, and we spoke earlier, and I'm very proud of the fact that we're both Cockneys. I think that's fantastic. So a vague claim to fame. I think, obviously, we were saying also you have the knighthood, damehood, which Stu's still waiting for his in the post, which surprisingly hasn't arrived yet.
Post is terrible these days.
It is, I know, it's waited a long time.
I'm sure it'll be there any day. Yeah,
Thank you for that.
That's okay, Stu. I'll hand over to you.
Yes, look, on research, and we have met each other before. We crossed over briefly at Gallagher's. On researching, I mean, what a fantastic career, okay? I mean, the whole idea of this podcast is not to be a puff piece, but it is awesome where you've come from, what you've done, where you have been. To what do you attribute your fantastic success?
Well, that's a really interesting question, I think. And it's a very British thing as well. When you say fantastic success, my first reaction is, no, you know, this whole thing, I've had it ages.
It's been fantastic success.
Look, I call it an accidental career because I was born in the East End. My dad was a sparky, an electrician. My mum was a housewife, and we lived with my gran in her house initially. She was a piece worker, made clothes for shops. But my dad always said to me two things. One, anything is possible. And secondly, how hard can it be? So people quite often, when they talk about the East End or areas where people don't have as much money as underprivileged, I had the most privileged childhood ever because my parents encouraged me and loved me, and my teachers encouraged me. So I've been really fortunate that I've wandered through life with those words in my head. Never occurred to me that I couldn't apply or try for a job. And I have to say, you know, I'm not going to go through my CV and my career, but I went to university. My teachers taught me in a cleared out chemistry cupboard in their spare time, me and another girl. That sounds very Harry Potter, but it had a window. Didn't know what I wanted to do, went travelling, came back, opened the Times, saw a job for holidays, Thompson Tour Operations, thought, I've been travelling for a year and a half, perfect job for me, graduate trainee scheme. And that is the only job I've ever applied for. I'm not saying that I haven't been interviewed, but because I like people, I find people fascinated. Oh, what do you do? How does that work? Could I do that? How did you get into that? Then when opportunities have come up, people or headhunters have thought of me and have called me. So completely accidental career, but it is entirely down to the support and encouragement of others, as well as a bit of self-resilience, which is why I believe it's so important now that we pay that forward and make sure that those that come after us have exactly the same or even better opportunities than we have.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
I know. I was going to say, in terms of the insurance world as well, what's quite fascinating is you're the first Lady Mayor, or Lord Mayor, that has actually got a dyed-in-the-wool insurance exposure, because banking seems to be overrepresented, as does other financial institutions. And it's fascinating to actually see that for once we have someone who's demonstrably an insurance person.
I have to say, it's fantastic to take that role. So, historic role, you will know this, back to 1189, 800 years. I am the 697th
wow.
Mayor, or as you say, the Lady Mayor. So there's been two women before me. I am the third. They took the title, the Lord Mayor, but when I came in, we have the Lady Chief Justice, we had the Lady Usher of the Black Rod, and I have learned, it's taken me 60-something years to learn, that representation is important, and it was very important to me to take the title, the Lady Mayor, not to make a big thing about it,
sure,
but clearly I'm Lady Mayor. And I have to say as well, insurance, we've had Lord Mayors before who've had a tinge of insurance, Nick Lyons, for example.
Yep.
But yes, I'm the first insurer through and through, stick a rock. But like buses, you're going to have two, because in 2 years' time, subject to election, you may well have Bonnet Macchiada coming in as well. So it's really great to represent the insurance industry. And also, what I love is sometimes the insurance industry gets a bad rep for women representation, number of women in senior jobs, and we do have a challenge. But the insurance industry has created the first ever in history Lady Mayor.
Yeah, fantastic.
Do you think we're meeting? You say we've got further to go, but it's better than it was when you first started. That challenge about women in the city, etc.
I think it's better than it was. I think we're still not there yet, but I think one of the challenges when we look at, equality. There's two sides to it. Okay, there's fairness, and there's also representing the customer voice and the market that we're actually working in, and avoiding kind of groupthink. The trouble is in some of these roles is we still have, I think people call it a missing middle, when women drop out, because we still tend to have the caring responsibilities. We just do. I don't have kids, but I cared for my mum when she had dementia. So the problem is, how do firms re-engage and make sure those women come back into the workforce? And sometimes with equality, when we look at process and procedure, we're so worried about treating people differently that we treat everybody exactly the same, but we're all completely different people. What motivates me and what's important to me to come back to work is probably entirely different to you and to you again. So I think in terms of senior management and encourage any kind of diversity back in, we actually have to be a bit more sophisticated and think on a one-to-one basis, within parameters of course, what does it take to entice this person back? Because, excuse me, because in this day and age we were talking earlier, so many people retiring.
Yep.
We can't afford to lose that talent that's coming through. It has to stay with us because we are such an important industry.
Well, we are. I mean, and in terms of advocating for the industry, you obviously do quite a lot of international travel. We see occasional LinkedIn things. You're around about. Is it tempting to ignore the bankers and just do the insurance plug? Or I know you have to represent the whole city, but have you found that quite a fascinating process to how well regarded or not regarded we are as an international centre? Because obviously we've got Lloyd's, we've got obviously the reinsurance markets and everything else. But I mean, how is that stock market?
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance? And is it a temptation to plug insurance since it's our first?
That's a leading question. There is just one answer to that, isn't it? Look, so
Who does that?
This role, it's historic, but what it is now is firmly the ambassador for financial and professional services, not just for the city, but for the UK. But I also represent other sectors as well. So when I travel, and it's over 50% of your time, so I think I've been to 19 cities so far.
Wow.
Still quite a few to go. And you travel as ambassador, you are promoting the UK, you might be taking a delegation with you to open doors to opportunities, because this role gives you access that many others don't. Now, I have to be really, really careful that I am an ambassador for financial and professional services. However, I will always try and run at least one insurance roundtable when we actually look through the programme.
Glad to hear it. Yeah.
And it has been said that when I get into those tables, into those roundtables, I become far more animated and passionate about things than in others. But it's not to say the others are not important. But I think, the insurance industry in London is still so well regarded. Okay, hugely well regarded. But saying that, we shouldn't take it for granted, because I remember when I started, people quite often were seconded in from the US or something to do a tour of duty for a year, 2 years. And I had heard that had faded, and I was in the US and someone said, "Oh, I'm coming to London for a tour of duty." I said, "Oh, excellent. How long are you coming for?" 10 days. Oh. And I was like, well, I'm not really sure that's tour of duty, which is why we set up for the first time the Global Risk Summit, because it was actually driven by a question someone asked me a couple of years ago. It's like, where's your rendezvous? What's the London equivalent? And I said, well, hang on a moment, that's a good point, because we have individual conferences, but we don't showcase London as a whole. And I think post-COVID especially, we need to give people an excuse to come to London, because there's one thing talking about things and there's another thing seeing it. So we had international delegations, over 400 people. It was a real success, and I hope it will continue. But it's almost like taking the term Lady Mayor. You can talk about things and say you can achieve things. You can talk about the London market and say it's great. But you do need a visible representation sometimes, I think.
Yes.
Is it fair to say that, I'm talking personally here, but the reputation of London, maybe the stock market, there are pressures at the moment that we haven't seen for a while, about crime in the city and various other things. Do you perceive that London has come under, in this new social media environment, quite a onslaught of negative PR? Is that a perception you might agree with?
I would say 100%, and that's been the most surprising piece of this melty. So in my first week, I met with, I think it was one of the Gulf banking associations, and they said, oh, we're sending people across, but they won't be wearing their jewellery. And I said, why? Well, you know, the crime in London. They went, well, there's no crime in London, no more than any other city. Thought that's strange, ignored it. And then I heard it 2 more times from 2 American delegations the week
Watch
after.
theft or phone theft.
Yes.
And now we're talking to someone who has the most magnificent chains of office, so there's some irony of
Which I walk around wearing. Okay, so there is a concerted campaign against the City of London. I have to say against other Western cities as well. It's not just London.
Right.
And I'm not saying that London does not have crime. Every city has crime, and we don't want crime in any city. However, you know, if you look on a comparison basis, London is safer than any US state or US city, than most of the major European cities. But you have to counter that. So it's not only the crime stats. You know, I was asked in America how I felt with the 12,000 arrests in the last month alone for when police stopped me to check my social media. And I said, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
He said, my friend told me.
Yeah.
I said, well, look, I'm the Lady Mayor of the City of London. I have worked in the city for 30 years. That does not happen. And he said, I believe my friend. So it's how do you give people responsibility for the media they consume, but how do you counter it? So it's not just safety, it is city in decline. The numbers of references to city cannot be further from the truth.
Well,
okay?
we see it, right?
We see it, and we see the strength of the business here, the talent, the innovation, the fintechs, the number of unicorns, more than, you know, France and Germany combined. So that's why I've launched the Team UK or Brilliant City campaign.
Yeah.
And we went live at the same time as the Stock Exchange. Julia from the Stock Exchange launched Great British Brands. We got over 200 businesses signed up. I got all of the market associations, the CBI, IASIS UK, all signed up. Just to have, with no spin, okay, we don't want to spin, you know, we have challenges, but we've also got huge strengths. Just to talk at the top level about the killer stats, you know, world's favourite city, 11 years in a row, you know, deepest capital liquidity markets. So those are the things we need to say. And I'm pleased to say we've got a lot of traction on social media. I think our challenge is how do you get it into mainstream press? Because it's a positive news story.
Yeah, because it gets in a spin, doesn't it, in the mainstream press?
Absolutely. What is the interaction with the government like for your role? Because obviously the government, the Department for Trade and Industry, or whatever it's called now, Business Department, I don't know. Yeah. They obviously they set the legislation for the macro environment, and London can only do so much, although London is its own unique magnet. How have you found that, especially with the changing governments and things? I know it's quite probably a difficult line for you to have to walk to say that, but are they really promoting British business? Are they really going for it at the macro level? Is there, even with Andy Burnham and the kind of regionalism agenda now, like it must feel as the head of London that you're going to have to fight back somewhat to really maintain our crown? Or?
This is a fascinating role because we kind of say we are with government but not of government.
Yeah.
And I've said my job is to talk truth to power.
Yeah.
Now, it has really helped that I have worked on the official side of government. So I was the lead non-exec for the Home Office.
Yeah.
I was actually CEO Financial Professional Services for, it was then called UKTI, because you're right, it's undergone many name changes. It's now DBT. So I have really strong connections and links into the PermSec level, also into FCDO and into DBT. And a lot of those individuals now work overseas. So my role when you travel, that is agreed with FCDO. So what are the UK's priority countries? So it's a combination of government recommendations and City of London recommendations. So we have a discussion and decide where to go. On the ground, they are hugely supportive of a mayoral visit. One of the reasons being when we say we're going to go, we go because it's not pulled because of something in the house or something. So they can plan ahead, so they know it's a stable visit. So I would say on that side, I also put in an MOU with DBT because I happen to know them well, but my successors might not.
Sure.
You don't want to reinvent it each year. You've got to find a way for it to continue. So I'd say that is really healthy and it's symbiotic. We support each other. If you've got if you've got a major investor coming over, a delegation, I can host a private dinner. You know, I can host a private dinner for them, or we can have a round table with ministers, so that's really healthy. When you talk on the political sphere, during the year you meet a number of ministers and you build relationships, but my job is to talk truth to power and to defend the city. I would say, though, what I do tend to find is I get that asked the question about Andy Burnham on my recent visit. Politics happens over there in Westminster, okay, and obviously we're going to be impacted by new policy. Business to business just carries on.
Absolutely.
Okay? So the nice thing about this role is I'm apolitical. So yeah, we can talk truth to power and talk about, but business to business just carries on.
I love it. Brilliant.
There's so many influences though, isn't there? I mean, there's a mayor of London as well, isn't there? You know,
very different role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have impact on?
I would say the biggest confusion when I go overseas, although normally people are well briefed, is what's the difference between the Mayor of London and the City of London Mayor. So the Mayor of London is a government mayor, you know, right. Planning and roads and traffic. Obviously gets involved, and a political appointee, and gets involved in, does get involved in business as well. I am an apolitical appointee, okay? I'm independent, and I talk on behalf of the city to promote financial professional services, to lobby for it, and to showcase our strengths, which is why you will see the Mansion House pillars currently wrapped in pink and black with the slogans down them.
Excellent, I love it. So talking of Mansion House, a bit of light-hearted relief. I mean, you live in Mansion House. What have been the shocks, the joys of your year in office? And I mean, what's it like being Lady Mayor of London? I mean, it must be pretty cool walking the streets.
It's a bit surreal, okay? The most surreal day was, because there's only 8% of the role is ceremonial, is business. You will see the golden coach and the state visits, and that's soft power at its best.
Sure, absolutely.
The golden coach.
I know. Well, only got to be in it once. Only got to be in it once, I'm afraid. But I used to watch the Lord Mayor's show when I was little on my granddad's shoulders when I was 6 or 7, and waved at all of the horses clip-clopping and the noise.
I've marched in it several times, so yeah.
And used to wait for the golden coach to come by. And who, if you'd ever told that little 6-year-old, also her granddad and parents, that one day she'd be in it, wouldn't have believed it. So it was slightly surreal, especially when, having been born within the sound of Bow Bells, when the coach comes down past St Mary Le Bow and the bells ring out, and I thought, the bells are ringing out for me. That just feels completely surreal. So it's been surreal to some degree, but you realise the impact you can have. So the next day we had, luckily it was a sunny day, but we had so many people on the streets and lots of little girls and kids. When I opened my inbox on Sunday, it was just full of emails from parents saying, it's so important to see senior women. My daughter wants to be Lady Mayor. Loads of little cards and pictures.
Wonderful.
Had one last week, which was really nice. Picture of me. I love you very much. My mum said I could write to you. Here's a picture of you as Lady Mayor, but I don't love you as much as my cat Samuel. Here is Samuel, okay? So, hey, I've made an impact. So you realise the feedback, the impact you can have. I always say you change people's lives one person at a time. So promoting financial professional services is hugely important to me, close to my heart because of my background. It's giving people that opportunity or that self-belief that they can come and do these things. You can be that 6-year-old kid on your granddad's shoulder, and you can end up living in the Mansion House.
Amazing.
Yeah, and we're so privileged. I mean, I've lived in London now, 35 years, 40 years. And
not quite the Mansion House.
Not quite the Mansion House, but I've only scratched the surface. You know, it's got so much to offer.
Yes, it has.
Across the whole spectrum.
And,
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, we're coming to a close.
Yes, I mean, we always ask our guests to leave us with a thought-provoking idea, or could even be a controversial idea that you'd like to leave our listeners or our watchers with, that you've seen in your career, or what you think will happen in the future, or...
No, I'd like to leave you with an ask, actually. And it comes back to the point about you change people's lives one person at a time. I've had up to 17 mentorees at any one time, and not on a formal basis. I call it it's almost like a formal nagger, like, what are you doing? How can I help? And I always use the phrase, I've got your back, which means I've got your back, I'm going to help push you forward for opportunity. But also, I've got your back, as in, if you fall, I will catch you. So how many people listen to this?
Oh, hopefully thousands, millions.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Go between.
If this hundreds of thousands or even thousands of people actually took the time to have coffee with one person they know, or they know through the neighbours, or they know in their company, to say, what are you doing with your career? Or how can I help you? Or how are you getting on with finding a job? Can I give you any advice? How many thousands of lives would that change?
That's very good.
That's very good.
Very powerful, actually.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Well, I have to say, Lady Mayor, thank you so much for joining us
You're
today.
very
It's been a real
welcome.
privilege to have you on. And
Much appreciated.
absolutely. And thank you, obviously, to our listeners and viewers at home. And look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.